Kona. Igramo Kona.
Carl Faubert sought information for a living.
Prvi put igram.
That is to say that ever since he returned from Korea, after having served with the armed force, he had been working as a private investigator in Montreal. William Hamilton, a rich industrialist, had gotten in touch with him regarding a simple vandalism issue. Nothing to write home about. Not worth hiring a private eye either, just so he can drive for hours on rough roads. But that's how it had all. They had set up to meet at the general store, his client's business. Well, actually, the entire village had William Hamilton's name written all over it.
Sviđa mi se i ovaj narator su priču u pozadini.
When the roads were bad, muddy, or snowed in, it was customary around these parts to close them off. But it was also customary to ignore those signs entirely and drive there anyway.
Okej, recimo što? Nemo samo sekund. Evo ovako bolje. Evo, malo sam podesio senzitiv na mišu, pošto mi bio prevelik. Kaj da vidimo što ima na tornju. Okej, komande mi se malo ne sviđaju, ali nema veze. Okej, šibice i našli smo velike makaze za lance. Mislim, pretpostavio sam da ovo moram uradim. Nisam znao da tamo treba što zanimljen. Okej, vidimo tamo unutra flyer. It will be good, okej. Tab je nazad, okej. Fiksni telefon, Fiksni telefon, ljudi, to je...
Hamilton never mentioned a road blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of Beyond? That would, however, be a mystery for another day. Carl had waited long enough for someone to come and raise it. Hamilton is waiting for Carl in the general store. It was time for him to get down to business.
Znači, ponovo je ponovio da nas čeka u prodavnici.
William Hamilton enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern quarter.
Okej, slupali smo se. Budimo se poslije nekoliko sati.
Carl needed to get out of there. The cold and the pain required urgent care.
Okej, zaglavili smo se. Jednom je pao sneg. Okej, ovo je baš zanimljivo. Aha, sad smo došli do uvodne slike ili da kažem početnog dijela. Okej, da vidimo šta je s ovim.
The driver had taken off. It was still best to check it out and leave nothing to chance. Carl needed help. Such heart-wrenching Nordic poetry that was. But Carl didn't care much about flowery language. This deep in the country, his last hope was to find an abandoned garage or a farm by the roadside.
Okay.
His life depended on it.
Inventory. Consumables, first aid kit. Tako da sam to pomoć. Okej, ovo baš belo veje, ovaj sneg. Okej, onamo ne mogu.
It was so cold. Already Carl did not feel his toes anymore.
Okej, postavljam da moramo onda ovdje. Aha, soud Atanipek. Okej, uzeli smo malo drva.
Even better than he had hoped. Carl Faubert had succeeded once more, and with
Šibica, lanac i još nešto. Kada imamo što imamo gore na tornju. Ok, nema ništa. Vatrka. Ok, pustim lance, ali kažu da ne mogu da vozim dok se ne ugrejem. Ok, grejem se ovako što stojim pored ovog napolje. Ajde. Jel imam. Ajde, beži. Jel već mi opada? I znači ovo je zašli spektakla, moramo i dalje dođemo do grada tog. Mada ništa se ne vidi od snega.
Spread out on a few acres of untouched forest, bellowing caribou, everlasting snow, and undefiled lakes. The Manistan region was no tourist hub. It was said to have been populated for millennia by Cree people, and ever since the industrial era, by the metal mining industry.
Vidimo šta ima ovamo, jer ja ne znam gdje treba idem. Ok, loading screen.
Wasn't a good time to wander about. Hamilton was still out there.
Ok, znači kažu da ne mogu ovamo. Ok. Ok, zanimljivo što je ovaj narator tako isto priča.
The truck was running on fumes. Good thing that the general store was close by.
Ok, vozimo na... Kažem, narator vozimo na rezervi, ali evo stigli smo do prodavnice, magazin General Store. Dobili smo Detektiv, ok, sastanak. Malo me grupa ne mogu da prekrijem. To je mala kasnije, General Store.
Something fell to the bottom of the box. Carl had no trouble recognizing his employer. He had been killed. There was no need to be a detective to figure that out.
Okay, Carl,
but only a detective could have noticed that the killer had to have been very close, that the fatal blow had been given before the victim even realized.
Okay, slikali smo kao pravi detektiv. Još jedna.
Carl felt a chill down his spine and had a terrifying realization. If Hamilton was dead, then who was going to pay him?
Okay, automatski kriven. Maknite mood drink, maple syrup.
An explosion suddenly occurred outside. The snowstorm pummeled everything in its path. Carl was not surprised when he heard no tone. Carl knew that Gilles Lachance was in charge of the general store. That made him one of Hamilton's employees. A very angry employee, as Carl could plainly see. According to that log, it seemed like the whole village owed some money to the general store. Carl was far more interested in the bunch of nearby addresses he had just gotten his hands on, though.
Okay, garage key.
Maintaining his composure, Carl recalled something from his military training. Wolves always stay away from populated areas. Wait, was it about bears?
Aha, na firmnu baterijsku. Super.
The crowbar was stuck under the lift. Notwithstanding Carl's imposing stature, car lifting wasn't part of his skill set yet.
Okay. Okay, ovdje ne možemo ništa. Prečica.
Hate was in the air. Seems like some villagers barely tolerated each other. The milkman had to drive by every week to fill the bottles. The fresh milk indicated a recent visit.
To open the cab, punch the price, 2 number minimum, press sale. Turn the crank 2 times. Okay. Ok, poštanski ključ.
The murder weapon. What was that doing there, Carl wondered. Hamilton must have been determined to keep some information secret to post this key. Shame he got unlucky. Everything made sense now. Poor Hamilton's denunciation was interrupted, and he figured it would be best to lock everything up and send the key to his correspondent, who would receive the box later on. Clever, but not enough. That's what happens to ordinary people playing spy.
Okay. Znači nama treba...
Given the circumstances, leaving with an empty tank would be a death warrant. Carl had to refuel.
Ok, moramo da napunimo auto. Ali ja mislim da ne možemo jer ne znam da namestim struju. Ok, da moram da popravim motor. Ok, možda imamo nešto gore. Pustili smo i pumpu. Gorivo. Dalje avanturu.
Carl knew straight away where to find the infuriated Gilles Lachance. Any good investigation would have to start there.
Ja sad ne znam gdje treba da idemo. Mislim da nema mapu. Ok, ima mapu, ali ništa specijalno. Idem mojim putem. Pa ćemo da vidimo.
An axe, not too shabby. Carl felt he needed to protect himself. It was a typical shack, just like the ones you hear about in Quebecois legends. Local lumberjacks used it to rest and twice a day eat up their pea soup. The leftover food, the clothes, the general warmth of the place, no evidence of escape. Carl was sure of it. People were here not long ago, and they expected to come back.
Ok, pošto ja sad ne znam gdje tradim. Igra je više nego brutalna, dobra i sviđa mi se i nastavit ću da snimam naravno. Ja ću da završiti ovaj video, tako da vama video ko se vide, ostavite like, share, pasite na kanal, a mi se vidimo u sljedećem videu. Ćao!